ladies and gents, today we are going back to the year 1991, right before some things kind of hit the fan. Before things kind of hit the fan in WCW, and things were
I feel like a recurring theme of that company. You notice that?
Yeah, right. I feel like things were in the process of hitting the fan, and oddly enough, we're going to be talking about in the news some things were hitting the fan in the WWF in a different way. Not that their roster was about to be blown up and they were about to lose like their top heel of all time, but some things with WrestleMania are afoot.
It's kind of funny. They're about to benefit from WCW exploding here.
They are. And there's going to be...
think about that.
Well, there's going to be a lot of controversy surrounding both companies. One for a specific event, obviously WrestleMania. And then the other one just because WCW is just...
not good. Believe me, not good.
Some things are happening, man.
Has there ever been a wrestling company that's been more up and down than WCW in its life?
I was going to say maybe TNA, but I don't even think them. Like, TNA has just been kind of a... They haven't had the highs that WCW had.
Well, I'm just thinking about WCW. Like, remember, then did they secede from the NWA or they kick them out? One of the two. But it was that.
They seceded.
There's that, and the whole thing with Jim Herd.
Yep.
Bischoff takes over, makes it hot. And
yeah, right.
The merger starts killing in '98, and then 2001 it's just completely dead.
Well, think about...
Man, you were talking about a patient on like life support for a long time, man.
Right. Think about this company was running in the red since the mid '80s. Like in the mid, somewhere in the mid '80s, they were actually making money for a while under Jim Crockett, and then they just started running in the red and never stopped until 1995. Eric Bischoff said that was the first year WCW had ever made money. Because keep in mind, they weren't WCW under Jim Crockett. So
kind of funny how that goes on. It goes forgotten. Everyone just goes right to the end. Oh, Bischoff killed it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was all him.
No, Bischoff brought it back to life, really.
Right. And Bischoff wasn't as much genius as I think he had and whatever. He wasn't like necessarily Vince McMahon, because Vince was like running hard and heavy for decades and decades running that company of his. Bischoff had a relatively short run. He did make a lot of money, and he beat out Vince for 83 weeks in a row. So there you go.
Was it 83 weeks? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it was 83 weeks in a row, plus I don't know how much, as far as like financials go. Bruce Pritchard talked about that. He was like, well, there was a time in like, I want to say 97, definitely in 98. He was saying, he's like, we were making money. He said we weren't running at a loss or anything. We were, at a net positive as far as like our money goes. We just weren't beating WCW. You don't have to beat the competition to be successful. So I'm wondering about...
Tell Tony Khan that.
Yeah, right. I'm wondering that about WCW. Like, obviously they didn't start beating WWF until 97?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that gets lost on people. They think that Nitro just launched and boom, started kicking Raw's ass. No, it took a minute.
Right. Yeah. So in 95, it was like, it was
beating WWE in 95. It's just, I could have did it.
Yeah. AEW at their worst might have been able to do it, but
right. That was some garbage.
Yeah. So it's,
and like I said,
95 was not good.
95, I'm 11 years old, man. I ate it up. I ran home for Raw every single night. I played with my friends. 8, 9 o'clock, whatever. I got to go.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you don't know. Because, like, I go back now and watch some of those old Raws during the Attitude Era, and I'm like, oh, God. Like, I loved this stuff as a kid. Was obsessed with it as a kid. Now I'm watching it, and I'm going, ew. Like, not all of it. Obviously, there was a lot of great shows. But some of it was just like, oh, God.
Well, you never got the wrestling you get nowadays. Like, go back and watch it. Like, where's the great matches?
Yeah, right. You might get 1 or 2 per pay-per-view, maybe. But yeah, like, being an amazing in-ring performer wasn't, like, a big thing during that time. It was all about storylines and talking and whatever. But
bro, nobody wants to see wrestling, bro.
Yeah, right. But
he said this, and the proof is in the pudding right there. Boom.
Yep. Well, times and tastes also change, but So I don't know. I don't know if you could get away with something like that nowadays. But
Hell no,
again,
not when you see what guys like Gunther and Sheamus put on all the time.
right. But in the slight defense of him, I guess, nobody's attempting an Attitude Era Crash TV style nowadays. So I don't know
Well,
if
the
it
problem is I don't think they can get away with it because certain things you have to do, the glamorizing sex and violence, might be tough. I don't know.
I mean, you'd have to make it a little more toned down and more PG-13 rather than closer to an R.
You don't watch Dynamite, do you?
Yeah. Well, it's still not. That's still not like a Crash TV style per se. And I don't know if it's still the same. I haven't watched a full Dynamite in forever. But when I was watching, it was like, well, it was like it opened up with a hot match. The middle of the card was the most forgettable stuff I've ever seen. And then sometimes you'd have a hot main event. Other than that, like that was like the formula for all of it. So I don't know. But either way, in 1991, it was an interesting time, I'll say. Plenty of news and notes to get to.
Do we still call this the Golden Era? Or is this part of it?
I guess, yeah, because we hadn't hit the new generation yet. We were about to.
So for me, new generation is when Bret Hart becomes the WWE champion. Like that's when it starts for me.
And that's
which is 93. Is it 93? No, 92. Sorry, 92.
Yeah.
Going into 93.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know. I would say more 93 was probably seemed like the start of it because 92 you still had Hogan and Savage running hot. Ultimate Warrior was there. Ric Flair. Still very much seemed like the golden era to me.
That seems like a new generation to me right there. All those guys.
Oh yeah, right. But like when Brett, Diesel, Shawn, when they started becoming the top guys, like it seemed like the tides turned a little bit and things
We got
changed.
Yokozuna too.
Yeah, he was kind of a he was definitely part of it. I'll say that.
And also, there's one other one that's kind of funny, and I think you and I agree we like this guy, so it's just kind of funny. He's shoehorned in there as Lex Luger.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, he was definitely part of
It's
that.
like new gen, really?
Yeah. Well, and he was hot in WCW during the WWF's golden era. So lots of stuff, and he's about to benefit actually a lot from Ric Flair being gone here. Not too far after this. So,
Not Barry Windham as Flair wanted.
Yeah, right.